Hey, what's up guys, it's Nick and welcome back to another episode of Assassin's Creed. In the last episode, we left off with killing the good Regent William and yet again heading back to Masyaf to get verbally assaulted by Albert the Wizard. Let's get into it. Altair was fed up with this repetition as I was and he finally snapped at the old guy. I still didn't get many answers though and just stormed out of the castle like a teenage girl that was told they couldn't get the new iPhone 26XS Pro Max Super Ultra. I then went to Jerusalem ready to continue the endless cycle that is chaotic assassination. I decided on acting on some character development and went in stealthily this time, unlike my last little incident where I barreled through the front gates. I went to the Assassin's Bureau where Malik caught me up on all the crazy gossip of the city. He told me that Majd took his role as temporary leader as a sort of tyrant. He needs to be taken out so the city can fall into anarchy. It's time to talk to the citizens about the suspicious character. I jumped off more buildings, just getting stupidly lucky every single time I randomly fell right into safety instead of concrete. I completed my tasks being the menace of society and probably causing the city worse distress than Majd. In my massacre, I found that Mr. Adine was holding a public execution and I told Malik about it. In response, he acted like a little bitch towards me, giving a lot of lip. If I didn't have to follow this bullshit assassin's code or whatever, I would slam his face on that counter and he would think twice about his attitude. Anyways, I strolled on over to the event and it was set up like a UFC fight where Majd entered and everyone cheered and clapped for him. He even had his own theme song. What a cool dude. It's sad that he has to die brutally with a stab to the cranium. All of the crowd didn't buy it though because some dude came out and committed the first drive-by ever. He wasn't exactly successful but added to the overall show. The crowd definitely loved it, but at that point it was my time to shine and so I put my head down and shuffled my way to the stage. The guards accepted me as some kind of peasant with fancy robes on and let me wander up to Majd. Once I was on the stage, they let me get very close to the man and when I came up right behind him to nibble his ear, they finally realized what the hell was happening and they did not like it. After I cleared out half the population of Europe, I killed Majd and interrogated him. He told me that he did all of this tyranny and execution as a hobby. He said that it was fun to determine someone's fate and see the realization on their face once their fate was sealed. I can't blame him. Well, off to hell you sick fuck. As always, Malik was still pissy at me for no reason and so I took a nap time break from the Animus. But before I went to bed, I found that the place I was in was held by Templars, which have been my enemy for the whole game. I guess they never disbanded after the Crusades and have existed to this day. That kinda sucks. Well, who cares? Time for a well-deserved sleep. Once I was well rested, I went back to Masyaf to prepare for the final 3 targets. One more wave and the hunt for the 9 would be over. This is the home stretch. Alberto shoved a skull in my face, spitting out incoherent gibberish, and I left, determining that he had finally lost his fucking mind. Time for my next victim. Assassin's Bureau, I asked him about this dipshit Jubair al-Hakim. He told me stuff, and I went to figure out more stuff. I got into more fights, terrorized the city, pickpocketed a kind, innocent man, and beat the fuck out of Jesus. You guys know all this well enough and I don't need to waste your time going in on the details. Time for the juicy stuff. I found that Jubair was holding a meeting where I would kill him. I then fell into a trance looking into those beautiful eyes of Rafik before snapping out of it and leaving to do my job. I mustn't let myself fall in love now, I have more important things to do. When I found Jubair, I found him burning all of the non-Diary of a Wimpy Kid books. Apparently this guy's entire goal was to ensure that the only novels that existed were those made by Jeff Kinney. Everything else must be destroyed. I mean, if I had the power and influence, I might do the same. Those books are the absolute peak of literature, greatly surpassing works of Homer and Shakespeare. Anyways, it wasn't up to me to choose to let him do this, and so I had to stop him on Alan's orders. Except I didn't just intervene right there, but I waited, letting more precious ancient books get burned, and even a man was thrown into the mix. But they ended up leaving, which meant I now had to track them down throughout the city. They all scattered throughout, going into many libraries and burned more books, so it was pretty easy to just sneak in there and methodically get rid of each of them. I guess Altair got bored though because after I killed almost all of the book burners, I just had 2 left, but they just disappeared from my map. Altair is just tired of this shit. Well, I fought another hard battle that was clearly unfair with Altair up against like 50 people. Like at least give the other side 200 just to give them a chance. This is a bloodbath. After I finished off Jubair, he told me that his only regret was destroying what is basically the Bible, 50 Shades of Grey, and fucking died. This is the saddest death in the entire game. I told Rafik of the terrible news and that we were wrong to kill him. He too was sad and we both mourned for Time's person of the century. He truly was the best of us all. Rest easy, Jubair. After I had lost what felt like a close friend, it was difficult to listen to what Alvin had to say, but I just gritted my teeth and listened to his bullshit speech. Luckily, he was not as condescending and annoying as he had been in the past, so I made it through and continued on my great endless journey. It truly seems like this shit will never end. I've killed 7 targets now and 2 left, but even then it doesn't feel like I'm even remotely close to being done. But I sucked up the feeling and went back to Aker, which brought out my violent side because I lashed out and did the exact same thing I did last time I visited by causing a ruckus and being generally quite disrespectful to everyone involved. You know what? I'm just gonna skip this part. His name's Sabrand, he's got a fucking bowl cut, and he plans to sail away on a big ass boat. Let's get straight to the assassination. I went to the docks where Sabrand was, and he was putting on a show for the citizens. I guess the bowl cut was a conspiracy though, because he had some greased back hair, looking like he beats his mother for fun. To confirm my comment, he sliced a prune in half. He then put on his extremely cool helmet with horns and sailed away on a little boat. At that point, I simply had to run to the big ship all the way over there, and so I speed ran over there. I might have to get that time professionally because that might have been a world record. I mean, look at these flawless jumps here. Who has ever done something so spectacular? When I reached the ship, Sabrand pussied out and ran away just like every other person I have ever called a target. But also just like everyone else, he only ran until he reached a large tower at a big open space, at which point he had gathered enough guards behind him and turned around to face me. Of course, none of them saved him and he died, and the cycle continued yet again. Now die, young one. And after that, it was time for my final target. One last douchebag to take out and it would all end. All of the killing, the pain, the suffering would finally end and I could go back to my normal life. For my final target, I had to kill Robert, or Robert. We're finally coming full circle. For my last boss, I had to kill the bald man that started it all. Why is it always a theme on my channel that bald people are always the villain? Why must they always do wrong? I think it's safe to say that bald people are extremely untrustworthy. It's time to end all the fighting. Let's do this. Robert was located in Damascus, which meant this would be the last time I would be visiting any of these cities. I think it's time to cue the sad violin music for this farewell. I mean, I guess it's not all over because I still have to visit my boy Malik or Rafik or whatever the fuck his name is. I also completed tasks around the city and acquired more information. But once that was all done, it was time to kill Robert. I found that he was attending Majd Jadid's funeral later, and so I went there as well to kill him there. Honestly, Altair, that's kind of a dick move. I mean, it was you that killed Adine, and now you have the audacity to kill Robert at his funeral just paying his respects? That's kinda cold. So I went to the funeral, and as expected, I saw a crowd of people and Robert respectfully mourning. And in Altair fashion, instead of just waiting until the funeral was over, I decided to interrupt the thing to kill Robert. Well, actually, I'm not sure what I would have done because they spotted me in the crowd and called me out. You can't really blame that on me, guys. So I fought the group, and once I impaled Robert, I took his mask off to confirm his identity. And here he— What? A woman? Oh no, this is not good. Definitely not good. Unless the Crusades were very progressive, I do not think this is my target, Robert. Because she wasn't my target, I let her go and got the fuck out of there. I guess it's not all over yet. Robert is still out there free and loose, and I still have yet to murder his ass. I guess the journey continues. I told Malik or Rafik or other names this guy could go by about the whole situation, and he told me to go to Masyaf. I said fuck that noise and went to a new place called Arsuf. Like, where the fuck did he get this place from? Intuition? Is he just guessing? I went along with it though because it's not really like I have a choice in the matter, and made the long journey over there. And like halfway there, I lost my horse and I got my steps in instead. My Fitbit is blowing up right now after this long run. When I got to Arsuf, I found that a major battle was happening and I had to kill waves of guards on my way to Robert. I guess they didn't want to make my final target so easy for me to beat. It was a long and grueling fight, killing what was probably hundreds of people. People. Like with feelings and families. Maybe Altair isn't the protagonist. And once I was done with all that, I wasn't done because I ran into a circle jerk with King Richard in the middle. All of his simp soldiers surrounded him, all staring at me, not exactly friendly. I told Richard that I was simply here to kill Robert and I would be on my way. I'm not sure what Altair was thinking saying that. I can't imagine that goes over well if you just request to assassinate one of his best soldiers. So much for Master of Stealth. I told Richard that Robert was a traitor all along and that he led the Templars. Richard laughed in my face and asked Robert if this was true. Once he simply said it wasn't, he immediately believed him. But he was also put in a tough spot because we both accused each other, and Richard told us to leave it up to fate and fight it out. This meant we had to duel and see who came out on top as the victor. Instead, I fought like every single soldier there, so not exactly a fair fight. But as I am me, I did come out on top and even killed Robert after I killed all of his soldiers. Okay, now it's over. As I set him down into the void, about to let him die, Robert told me that it wasn't 9 targets that I had, but 10. Of course, I was confused and quite frankly annoyed annoyed because I just wanted this shit to end already. He told me that I already knew him and that he led me. He was my master. Alabaster himself. The old, wise man that never actually did anything was my final target, and I had played his game. I now had to go back to Masyaf and kill the man I had trusted the most this whole time. Okay, off I go. Time to kill the guy that had manipulated me and tricked me this entire time. Yeah, I'll probably make his death just a little extra painful, but before that, I was taken out of the Animus and Warren played audio of the lobby where there appeared to be a lot of gunfire and fighting. In other words, not my problem. Once I got back to Masyaf, it seemed unusually quiet and all of the citizens were in some kind of trance. I guess the old dude was a fucking wizard because everyone here seemed high, especially these guards that just came up to me intimidatingly and just kinda stared at me until I passed them, and then they attacked me. They must be on shrooms or some shit, and once I was done with that, I went to the courtyard of Alfonso and he showed up, freezing me in my tracks with his witch magic. He told me that he did this because nothing was true, I guess? I don't know. As usual, he just spit random shit from his mouth. But what mattered is that he sent every single one of my dead targets I had previously fought after me, and I had to kill each of them all over again. And after I proved myself killing every single one of my targets again on my first try, and at world record pace, Alexander did not seem to be phased, and initiated his mitosis ability, and 10 of the senile ancient men appeared. So I killed all of them, leaving only the original Alejandro standing. Again, he was still confident in his ability to kill me. That was obviously a mistake because after all that, it was time for the final phase of the battle. No tricks, no dead people, no cell division, just me versus him. He rambled on and on about illusions and that weird glowing ball in his hand, and once he released me from his spell, it was on. I was wrong about the tricks being over though, because every time I hit him, he teleported across the fucking equator and I had to chase him around. Eventually, he ran out of the strength to continue teleporting and I finally killed him. It was unsurprisingly easy seeing as he is so fragile. He could have just done more spells and shit, but he chose to fight me one-on-one. I can respect that. That wasn't the best decision he could have made though. Once he was dead, that glowing ball produced a hologram of the Earth. This was it. The final discovery. The whole goal of the game from the beginning. And I can't believe it came out like this. Like, who knew the Earth was round? That's crazy. This is gonna change everything. Once I was finished, some dude over the radio told them to kill me because they were done with me. But the kind lady told them that they might need Desmond and they kept me alive. And that is the end of Assassin's Creed 1. After my next Dishonored video, I'll be starting Assassin's Creed 2, a direct sequel for the first game. Thank you guys so much for watching this video to the end, and if you liked it or have any feedback, please leave it down in the comments. Also, make sure to join my Discord because it's a great place to talk to me or my community. And with that, I will see you guys in the next video.